In today's conversation, I want to explain to you how to start a podcast on YouTube this year. So here's the overview I want you to pay attention to. The thing is that when you think about YouTube, a lot of folks think about YouTube as a video platform. It is, but you also can have your podcast. You can host your podcast on YouTube. You can have an audio podcast. You can have a video podcast, or you can have a hybrid podcast, video and audio. So this is really good. Now, and the thing is that YouTube is actually the second search engine after Google, right? And those two are owned by Alphabet. So you have a lot of opportunities there in terms of exposure for your podcast. So the bottom line here is that you really want to start your podcast. You might want to think about starting your podcast this year on YouTube. So here are the steps I really want you to pay attention to. I want to give you 5 steps to start a podcast on YouTube this year. The first thing you want to do is you want to buy your video gear, right? You can record your video episode in 2 ways. Neither option requires a lot of podcasting equipment, and both are very easy to set up, even for beginners. We're talking about very, very basic equipment here. So when you are on YouTube, obviously YouTube is by default the video platform. So even if you want to do a podcast, you want to have some kind of basic video equipment. So we're talking about equipment that allows you to record video remotely. So remote recording tools are great for capturing long distance interviews, for instance. And this option doesn't require an elaborate setup. Just plug your microphone into your computer or interface, choose it as your input, and start recording. And this recording method is really simple and requires little to no post-production. And so our favorite remote recording tools are Riverside FM, you have Squadcast, and you have Zoom. We have reviewed all 3 platforms on this show. And you can also record using an external camera. So external cameras capture higher quality video than a webcam and are great for in-person interviews with a co-host or solo podcasters. So you can choose your iPhone camera attached to an affordable tripod, or let's say you can invest in any of those camcorders. You have Logitech Brio or Elgato Facecam. And so that's number 1. The first step is you want to really buy your video gear. Second thing is you want to record episodes. So for HD YouTube videos, you want to record in 1280 times 720 or 1920 or 1080. YouTube thumbnails need to have a resolution of at least 1280 times 720 with a width of at least 640 pixels. So to get the best lighting, use a ring light or position yourself with a window towards your face. Be mindful though that you have a background, right? So you can sit in front of a plain wall or invest in a backdrop to make it more interesting. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. The next thing you want to do here is to edit episode. So edit your episode to cut off fluff and mistakes to make it flow. So for basic edits, you can use a tool like Lightworks, OpenShot, and iMovie. And for more involved editing, consider full-featured video editing software like Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere Pro. It really depends upon your resources, your budget. But this is kind of the cool thing is that YouTube supports many file types but recommends exporting your podcast episode as an MP4 video format. And the next thing you want to do is you want to upload video to YouTube, right? You can actually upload your video on your personal YouTube account under your channel in the drop-down menu. Try to think of the best title with relevant keywords and add chapter markers with timestamps to help viewers navigate your episode. And you really want to think about the best way to really entice your viewers, but also please the algorithm, because you got to think about SEO also. Step number 5, you want to publish audio separately to an RSS feed. So if you use recording tool, like if you have a remote recording tool like Riverside FM, you'll get a WAV recording separate from your video. From here, you can upload a new episode to your podcast host, not a problem. And Buzzsprout podcasters can also upload an MP4. Like you have Buzzsprout, you have a Riverside, for instance, you have a Podbean also. And so they can upload an MP4 video file to their dashboard. And what happens here is that the platform will take the audio from the file to create an audio-only episode. So if you're recording in person, it's just better that you have your audio content directly recorded in terms of the software. You get it straight from the software, so you can preserve the quality. See, the thing is, you want to preserve the audio quality, but also the video quality. Very, very important, especially if you're reaching out to a geographically distributed audience. You want to really pay attention to that. By the way, boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to start a podcast on YouTube. let me give you a few smart moves here. So the first thing you want to do here is if you want to start a podcast on YouTube, you need to understand that you can't upload MP3 to YouTube directly, unfortunately. The video site requires video files, so you'll need to convert your audio files to MP4. And so this also means you need some kind of video element in order to upload a podcast to YouTube. And it can be as simple as a static image, but there has to be something playing in the background. So the four most popular ways to start and upload a podcast to YouTube are: you need to convert your audio files into video. You need to present a podcast on your webcam. You can use external cameras to record the show, or you can use screen capture to record the show. So it really depends on the strategy that really works for you. Let's first talk about the first one. So you want to convert your audio file into a video. So this is actually the simplest and easiest approach if you want to start a vlog for your podcast, for instance. Let's say you want to spend as little time as possible uploading your podcast to YouTube. You want to start here. All you need to do is convert your audio file into, let's say, a video and add a static graphic to the background. This is kind of very straightforward. First, you want to create the background image. So try using a simple graphic design software like Canva or Snappa. And each has templates you can work from, so you're not really starting from scratch. And this is kind of cool. And so in terms of graphic, you can have your name, you can have your logo, you can have something like hosted by, John Doe, hosted by Jane Doe. You can have the website URL and any other pertinent information. Now, size-wise, YouTube recommends images that are 2560 to 2240 pixels for the best results on all devices. So if you already have podcast cover art, that should work perfectly. And you want to convert the audio file and add the background image, and so you can use all kinds of tools for that. So this is kind of cool. And the second thing is you want to present into a webcam. So if you already take it a step further and create some easy video content, you want to try presenting your podcast directly into your webcam. So this is totally good. This setup is the perfect way to test out uploading a podcast to YouTube because you don't need to purchase any equipment. You want to plug your microphone into your computer and use the webcam that's built in it to your computer. You can use Zoom or QuickTime to record yourself speaking. That's not a problem. Just make sure to check your microphone settings so the tool is picking up your podcast microphone instead of the computer's built-in one. You need to have the external one if you want to have high quality. And you want to set up external cameras where you actually record, and this is something that really can help you out in terms of preserving the quality, because you want to have a quality also. So set up external cameras where you record, and if you conduct your podcast at a desk in a presentable room, consider setting up a camera to capture your performance as a video podcast. This is kind of cool. And so you don't need elaborate equipment for this. You can get a high quality recording with just your smartphone. So you probably want to pick up a cheap attachable tripod to keep the footage steady. Then you want to screen capture you and your remote guest. So if you conduct your podcast interviews remotely using a tool like Squadcast or Zoom, set it to capture a video along with the audio. You'll end up with a split screen video so you can upload a podcast to YouTube. And this is kind of cool. And what I want to say here is that it's really important to understand that it's totally up to you to know exactly what kind of schedules you want to have in the meantime. It's one of those things where you have a clear idea what's really working for you and what's not working. Now, the thing is, I'm giving you several strategies, right? Converting your audio file into a video, presenting yourself into a webcam, okay? Setting up external cameras where you record, or screen capture you and your remote guest. Now, the thing is that which scenario you have depends on your audience, okay? If your audience likes the kind of settings that your audience likes, this is what you need to feed them. It's all about the audience. It's all about you adding value. You have to really connect with the audience at a very deep level. This is what we call having an emotional connection as opposed to a transactional connection. And you got to have that if you want to survive in this very competitive podcasting world, right? I mean, if you're thinking about superstars like Gary Vee or other podcasters who are really killing it, they have understood the game, and it's all about serving to their audience members what they are looking for, okay? And this is what you have to do. Whether you actually convert, if you choose, listen, I'm just going to convert my audio file into a video, okay? And my audience is okay with that, then that's fine. If the audience is okay with that, they will follow you no matter what. Okay, but if they want you to actually present into your webcam or screen capture yourself and your remote guest, they like that setting, then go with it. Okay. One thing you need to really understand is that podcasting on YouTube is big business. Okay, the thing is that we're talking billions of dollars. I mean, podcasting in general is actually worth billions of dollars, but on YouTube it's even bigger because, especially since YouTube made the switch, they actually made the switch to actually having a podcast sort of section. This is really really important. You are able to reach listeners who prefer watching videos. So YouTube has a massive audience. Many people prefer to consume all of their content on YouTube because it's popular and it's what they know. They don't have any reason to try new platforms because there's always something to enjoy on YouTube. If you post on YouTube, you get access to all the people who would rather watch videos. Okay, you can promote your episodes with shorter clips. So if you don't want to publish your complete episodes on YouTube, you can actually promote your podcast by uploading snippets of each episode. And this method has the three advantages. It really entices people to download the full episode on their preferred podcast listening app, which can mean more sponsored revenue. People are more likely to share a shorter video than a 45 minutes episode, and they make for great assets to share on social media. Okay, and you can also increase engagement by interacting with listeners in the comments. And this you have to do on YouTube. You have to do it. So podcasting is a one-way conversation. We all know this, right? Unless you create your own podcast community, there's really no way for them to talk to you about your show. On YouTube, however, you get one-on-one interactions with your listeners or watchers, for that matter. And podcasting platforms can really offer this. So viewers can drop their feedback as they consume your content, which makes them feel a connection to the host. Okay, so this is really good. And you want to use YouTube analytics to your advantage. YouTube has a great granular analytics. So on YouTube, you can view data on who watches your podcast video, how long they engage with it, and how they found it. You just can't get some of this data points when people download your episode or use an audio player on your site. More listener data means more opportunity to figure out which episodes your audience likes and dislikes, so you have a clear idea how to position yourself going forward. Plus, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to start a podcast on YouTube. Another thing you can do here is to earn money with YouTube advertising opportunities. It's really hard to find podcast sponsors when you don't have any downloads, but YouTube doesn't care about that. You won't make a lot of cash though, but you can make something off your content just by getting views. Over time, a healthy library of content can turn into serious revenue. YouTube will do all the work monetizing your video. Furthermore, you can actually offer sponsors a video review of the product in addition to the host paid ads. This is kind of cool. And so this will increase the price of your ads going forward. You can also create bonus video content for paying subscribers. So your Patreon members deserve something special for their loyalty. So what you want to do is you want to actually have an additional revenue avenue by having a Patreon sort of subscription, Patreon donation, if you will. Create exclusive content for them with special information, in-depth product reviews, or peeks behind the scenes of your show. Excuse me here. So the thing is that you can even create custom content based on the questions and unique problems. Okay, there are two ways to do this when you're podcasting on YouTube. When you publish a video, set it as unlisted. Regular YouTube users will not be able to see it when they search or browse for content, but you can still pass the URL to your patrons. This method is very simple, but the video is not really exclusive since anyone can pass the link to their friends. And another way is when you publish a video, set it as private. Click the menu icon next to the save button, 3 vertical dots, select share privately, and paste your email list into the box provided. YouTube will send a notification to each email address with a link to view the video. And this method is 100% exclusive, but you have to paste your email list every time you publish a video. So it is a little tedious, but it is what it is. So when you think about YouTube, I want you to think about a platform that has actually, as I said earlier, they have morphed, really, they have switched their business model. YouTube has become all in on podcasting. So in July 2022, YouTube launched a dedicated podcast page. And but the thing is, right now it's only available for US visitors, but this will likely change in the future. And so this new section on their site is a clear sign that YouTube is about to get very serious about its investment in podcasting and the potential ad revenue. Okay, so this is really cool. So the podcast destination page on YouTube helps users explore new and popular podcast episodes, shows, and creators, as well as recommend podcast content. That's what YouTube is actually saying right now officially. So this is really good. But in the podcast section, you will see popular categories for popular episodes, popular playlists, recommended content, popular creators, and then subject matter sections like comedy, true crime, sports, etc. And the cool thing is this section, no doubt, will be expanded and refined in the future. Okay, so you can see that YouTube is really going all in, and really that really makes sense because they've seen actually the potential that podcasting has in general. Let me give you a winner here. So I want to share with you a list, a non-exhaustive list, if you will, of the best podcasts on YouTube as of right now. So you have a H3H3 podcast. This is actually a great podcast. The thing is that when you understand why and how to publish your podcast on YouTube, you probably are looking for inspiration, right? What do great podcasts on YouTube look like? So I want to share with you a few of the best YouTube podcasts in our opinion, and so you can check them out and see if you like them. So the first one is H3H3 podcast. So this actually is produced by Ethan and Hila Klein, the same couple who produces the H3H3 production YouTube channel. And whereas their traditional YouTube channel consists of light-hearted and surreal sketches, as well as comedic reactions to videos, their podcast channel interviews politicians, filmmakers, musicians, actors, writers, comedians, and other YouTubers. And each H3H3 podcast video contains the entire podcast, which runs between 2 and 3 hours. So you can see that it's really deep. So and you have a Joey Diaz, the Church of What's Happening Now. That's the other one I want to share with you. So comedian Joey Diaz, a regular on the Joe Rogan Experience, actually a Joe Rogan Experience, takes you on an audio journey and into his opinion on just about anything and everything. So and he was on Joe Rogan. Sorry, Joe Rogan. Basically, we love his humor. He's bold. And he's only for adults, but it's still great anyway. So most of his guests are comedians who actually will enjoy. They will really, really regale you with the stories of life on the road, on stage bombs, and the antics of a party lifestyle. Third one I want to share with you is Tiesto, and Tiesto really is kind of cool. Also, Tiesto's Club Life is a DJ Tiesto's weekly radio show that was formerly broadcast on Radio 530. It really features a variety of electronic dance music, including progressive house, electro, trance, and down tempo, all selected by Tiesto. Okay, and other DJs appear as guests as well. His radio show episode have been converted into one of the best YouTube podcasts for music discovery. We also have a Peter Schiff podcast. So this is another serious one, a wonderful one. Peter Schiff is an economist, financial broker, dealer, author, and a frequent guest on national news programs. So his goal is actually to educate his audience about free market economics, the principles and benefits of individual liberty, the government, and sound money. So his financial advice will arm you with knowledge and help you prepare for difficult economic times. We also have an Art of Manliness podcast. This is another great one here. So this is a podcast that wants to help men become better men and understand their lives, culture, and themselves. So they actually conduct in-depth interviews with expert authors and thinkers in hopes to recapture the classical ideals of manliness. Kind of cool. We also have Ear Biscuits. I want you to look on the screen right now. This is really fantastic. Overall, you have a great sort of tool to really start your podcast on YouTube. Let me give you a few pro tips before closing today's conversation. So, if you want to have, when you put your podcast on YouTube, do create a public playlist for your podcast with all of your full episodes. If you have multiple podcasts, create a separate playlist for each one. This will be really helpful to you in the long run. You want to order videos the way you want viewers to see them. If you have a narrative-driven show, post old videos first. If you have a topical show, publish the newest episode first. If you want to make your playlist title the same as your podcast title, So keeping your title consistent help your current listeners find you on a new platform. You also want to write a comprehensive description for your playlist, make it easier for a new viewer to understand what your content is all about. And you want to create a second channel with short clips that can go viral. You never know, right? Posting clips of your episode is great for social media, can boost your SEO and drive traffic to your podcast or website. You want to link to episode within the description. So subscribers are your biggest metric of success in podcasting. So to encourage viewers to subscribe to your podcast, include a link with your episode description. So this is really good. So when you put your podcast on YouTube, do not mix clips with your full episodes playlist, okay? All full episodes of the same podcast should be together, regardless of season or topic. You want to make playlist description too wordy, okay? Do not do that. Description should be succinct and concise. You can add a lengthier description for episode clips. You want to ignore the description box, do not ignore it. This little box can boost your SEO, so be sure to take advantage of it with a quality description, and do not use a static image of your podcast cover art. People go to YouTube to watch video content. A podcast episode with just an image of your artwork can lead to less engagement. So bottom line is you need to have engagement, okay? If you want to actually find success on the platform, not only as a podcaster, but also as a videographer. I mean, not a videographer, but let's say a video podcaster or an audio podcaster. You need to really follow the rules that are actually, there are best practices on YouTube, okay? And it's one of those things where podcasts make money on YouTube. YouTube ads sell for $2 to $10 per 1,000 listens. In some cases, it can go to $15. So it really takes a large audience to earn anything significant. For most podcasters, substantial monetization on YouTube requires going beyond the CPM advertising model. And so, but it is totally possible. If you want to start a YouTube channel for your podcast, you can certainly do it. Just make sure that you supplement your revenue with other strategies, such as sponsorship, for instance, or even brand deals. That way, you can actually expand your revenue base and really, you can scale over time. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just explaining to you how to start a podcast on YouTube. And let me do a recap here. I spoke to you about the overview, the steps, the smart moves, the winner, the pro tips, and now the recap. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.